Game 2 did not go the way the Washington Commanders wanted it to go. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down what went wrong and look at the bright spots, yes, the bright spots of the game that the Commanders could take away as the season progresses. I'm your host, Aziel Mejia, with Commanders Digest, reporting everything all regular season. So if you want to be caught up to date, everything Commanders, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Yes, I try to call out of work, believe it or not, to not make this video, but it's hard to call out of work when it's a remote job. I guess mental health was only cool that 1 year. But I digress. You know what we're going to be talking about. We know it was going to happen eventually. The Commanders did lose their first game of the regular season. I mean, the Commanders didn't even want to go 2-0. 2-0 is overrated. It's whatever. Not even that. Having a perfect record. What is that? We need some drama in the season. But nonetheless, we knew before the game started, if you watched the video before the game, that the Packers were going to be the favorites. Commanders were going to be the underdogs. Even before the season started, Packers they went to the playoffs last year. They look like playoff favorites this year. And then right before the season started, they add Micah Parsons that they got from the Cowboys. Thank you, Jerry Jones, for like a bag of hot Cheetos, essentially. But we knew that this game was going to be intense for the offensive line, for JD5. We talked about it in the previous video. I'm going to be mentioning it. Sorry about that. But that's why you got to watch the videos. But yeah, they had to make Micah Parsons a non-factor into the game. They couldn't do that. That defensive line, that D5, D4 that they kept rushing against the offensive line, just kept beating them. They were able to control the tempo of the game. They were able to keep JD5 off balance. Was one of his worst statistic games. I mean, the stats may not show it, but I mean, Jordan Love, he has 5 less throws than JD5, and he has almost essentially 100 more yards. So the JD5 only averaged 4.8 yards for every throw, and then Jordan Love 9.4. They did keep it interesting, but Commanders didn't put up their first touchdown until the fourth quarter. They did keep it between one, but you know, this game could have easily gone the Packers' way because it could have looked ugly real fast. But luckily, the Commanders' defense were able to stop the Packers to a couple of 3-and-outs. They were to keep them within field goal range, but it could have got real ugly. So, I mean, in not Commanders Digest video, we don't say a quote. We got to look at the glass half full. And that's what I talk about within the intro. Look at the bright spots, at least. See where you can tweak. We want to make these mistakes now in September so you don't make them later in the season. We're going to be breaking it down. We do have some quotes. We do have some stats. I've done all the research for you, believe it or not, so you don't have to. We're going to be breaking it down. But before we do that, if you're a new watcher, new viewer to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I said in the intro, we're going to be covering all regular season games, whether they're wins, losses like today, draws. It's going to be covered right here on the channel. Hopefully, it's a lot more wins, W videos than L videos. Make sure to comment down below for good luck W videos. So like I said, if you're new here, subscribe. Now, if you're a returning viewer, make sure you are subscribed, because 87.5 of y'all who are watching the videos are not subscribed. That's crazy, because for the free skis, and it takes like 2 seconds, you can legit subscribe while you're watching the video. But one last announcement. Yes, Digest Media is hiring. You can join our team today. Links will be in the description. If you ever had the desire to if you want to be a part of the ever-evolving world of sports media, whether that be a content creator, sports writer, storyteller, Digest Media is where it's at. Digest Media is essentially a media company that covers all 4 major sports leagues in North America, whether that be MLB, NHL, NBA, NFL. Digest Media more than likely has a channel on it. You can legit Google them. They'll show all the lists of the different teams. So if you want to go check out Packers Digest, Commanders Digest, yes, Packers Digest, go ahead and go check that. We don't want to look at those videos. But if you want to, you can go look at that one. But not just me, not just Commander Digest. There's a whole plethora. Look at that. Look at those big words. Plethora of other channels. And I'm first-hand experience because Digest Media gave me my first shot within this world of sports media. They gave me the tools, they gave me the keys, they gave me the resources, and they've helped me along the way. They're like, here, we're going to help you succeed. Because if you're an OG, you know we've been running it up ever since we started the channel. It's been all zero. Everything we started from absolute zero. 0 views, 0 subscribers, and they helped me along the way, whether that be with scripts, content ideas, thumbnails. They helped me, like I said, throughout the whole way. And look at the numbers. Everything's in the green. Everything's in the green. Even though we lost, the Commanders lost, everything's still in the green. So you ever want to be a part of the world of sports media, Digest Media is where it's at. And we can't wait for you to join the team. Get back to the video. Yes, look at some of the stats. Jordan Love just had a field day out there, finding gaps within the secondary. especially with Tucker Kraft, him having 124 yards off 6 receptions, having more than Zach Ertz and Scary Terry combined, essentially. But we're going to be breaking down the quotes that we have right here. First one being from Joanne Coley from Sports Illustrated, essentially breaking down what went wrong for the Commanders throughout the whole board, saying this: their offense managed just 230 total yards, while the offensive line, particularly on the right side, struggled to contain Green Bay's front, leaving quarterback Jayden Daniels under pressure. The ground game was nearly non-existent, finishing with just 51 yards and 19 carries, and receivers couldn't consistently separate from the Packers secondary. So let's just break this down. W quote by Joanne. I think W reading by me, but we're going to be breaking it down. Yes, 230. I think that's the lowest total yards within the Commanders with JD5 as a quarterback. Like I said, one of his worst games. He threw for average only 4.8 yards, which is crazy. Like I said, his numbers did improve 200 yards, but essentially the fourth quarter was, they kept it within one possession, but the game was essentially over. Like I said, the offensive line, they did struggle with that D5, D4. They definitely kept the pressure going, especially with Micah Parsons. I would get scared when Micah Parsons would come in. So imagine JD5. The pressure was on JD5. He couldn't get running either. He had 7 carries for 17 yards, 2.4. That's not typical JD5 fashion. He was under the ground game was non-existent as well. We talked about it in the first game against the Giants. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt rushed for, I believe, 82 yards. He only ran for 17 here. Only had 4 carries. Austin Eckler, 17 carries, 17 yards as well. One of the ways to win a game is to have that run game going. The run game for the Packers was there as well. Josh Jacobs, he had 84 yards. Then you have Williams with 24 yards. So it was definitely night and day. The Packers definitely controlled the momentum of this game. And the last one right here, the receivers just couldn't find consistent separation from the Packers secondary. They did have they had that no-fly zone, but we knew what we were expecting heading into the game. The Packers were going to bring all the momentum. They just beat the Lions last week, and then the Commanders going into Green Bay. It was going to be a struggle. But like I said, we got to look at the bright spots, essentially. That's what we have, the second quote right here from Anthony Armstrong from his show, the Commander Squad Show, basically breaking down what the Commanders can take away from this game. You actually have a blueprint of what you're going to see from other teams. Now you know what teams are going to try to mirror from Green Bay. You have to find a way to operate off of that. Essentially breaking down, teams are going to be looking at what Green Bay did to essentially lock down every phase for the Commanders, whether that be JD5, whether that be the wide receivers, whether that be the running backs, controlling the line of scrimmage. So now you got to work on that. They have a sample, because obviously you don't get with the Giants, you beat them. It was a defensive game. You had the run going, and this game you did not have the run going. The offensive line could not keep up against the defensive line for the Packers. So you gotta operate. And if one thing we know about this team is resilience. How many games did they clutch up last season? How resilient JD5 is? How resilient Dan Quinn is? So it's all about bouncing back, because I can't. Maybe because I'm on that side of X for the Commanders, where everybody's already, the Super Bowl window for the Commanders is over. It's over. Sophomore slump. The Ravens lost their first game. No one's saying that about them. The Chiefs lost their first game. No one's saying that about them. The Lions lost their first game. But I digress. But I guess the Super Bowl window, I guess the season's only over for the Commanders, I guess. But that's what we want to break down for this video. Look at the film, look at the tape. Obviously, the Giants, you're on high morale. Then you go against Green Bay, and then everything's on an all-time low. They have 10 days. They have 10 days now. They go against the Las Vegas Raiders, I believe, at home in Northwest Stadium. So you're going home. You're going against a Raiders team. Say what you want, but they have something to prove this season. They had the ideology of having a good season, of wanting to go to the playoffs, so it isn't going to be as easy as people think. I'm not going to take the Raiders lightly. So look at the tape, look at the film, see where you can clean up. Like I said, you want to make these mistakes in the beginning of the season, September, so you don't make them in December when the games are going to really matter. This is a bad loss in general for the Commanders, because, like I said, this is a team that you might see in the playoffs, the Packers. So, but that doesn't mean anything. the first game I believe for the Commanders last season was against the Buccaneers. They end up losing that game. I don't think JD5 did he ever. I don't think there was ever a touchdown he threw that game. What was the situation? But it wasn't a great game either for the Commanders against the Buccaneers. What happened in the playoffs? They faced the Buccaneers in the first round and they made an example. They were able to win towards the end. The Commanders, like I said, are resilient. They're not just gonna have the same schemes going. They're gonna see what they can improve on. Because like I said, it's better to do this now than later in December. Now, unfortunately, we do have an update on Austin Ekeler. You did watch the game. He did suffer a non-contact injury. And it may be for the worse. This is what Adam Schefter on X had to say about it. Sources: Commanders believe veteran running back Austin Ekeler did in fact tear his Achilles during Thursday night's loss at Green Bay. Ekeler still needs to undergo imaging. That is scheduled Friday for confirmation, but I mean, Adam Schefter wouldn't tweet it if it wasn't true, essentially. But it may be the case where Austin Ekeler's season may come towards the end. That is going to hurt the Commanders because they did give up the running back one, or former running back one, Brian Robinson Jr., because he wanted to split this carries between Austin Ekeler and Troy Krosky-Merritt, and then now you lose essentially running back one, Austin Ekeler. You hate to see it, especially he is on the older side, and the amount of fun he had last season, and then you have high morale. The window for the Commanders is, I believe, still at an all-time high, and you just hate to see this going down. We also have another tweet, I believe, yes, right here. I don't have it on the screen, but I have it on dual monitor. Adam Schefter also tweeted out, Commanders DE Diedrich Wise, who was carted off from Thursday night's game versus the Packers, suffered a season-ending quad injury. So if it wasn't a bad game on the stats, it is a bad game for the roster as well. Losing guys, like I said, Commander defensive edge, they've struggled with that. They were looking for ways to repair that. They did lose their sack leader from last season, and it was already patchy as it was, and now to lose another one, it's hate to see. Same thing with the running backs. You give up your running back one, essentially for Austin Ekeler and Troy Krosky-Merritt to split the carries, and now you lose him. You just hate to see it, but like I said, this is what the Commanders do best, essentially, is the resiliency, next man up mentality. We discussed it throughout the whole offseason. Who could step up? Who could be that guy? Because just because you were that guy last season doesn't mean you're gonna be the guy this season. So a next man up type of mentality. I don't want to be tone deaf and be like, oh, okay, just forget about these guys. But the season has to keep on going. It's sad to see that their season's already over after just game 2, especially to a loss like this. But it is what it is. Comment down below. What do you guys think? Is the Commanders window actually closed already? Is that it? Is their season over? They should just pack it up, go for the first round pick, and that's it. But let me know in the comments down below. If anything breaks within the Commanders atmosphere, you know it'll be covered right here on the channel. I'm Azio Mejia with Commanders Digest, and I'll see you in the next video.